Am I the a-hole for telling a dad that I thought he was just weird? Am I the a-hole for telling my son that he should probably be more low-key around his boyfriend's friends? Am I the a-hole for saying I don't want to eat body parts? Background: I am 23F and with my boyfriend 24M for over 3 years now. His parents, mom and stepdad, and I have had our issues in the beginning, but after about 2 years, they seem to accept me, and even though I won't forget certain things they've said about or towards me, I felt like it went uphill. 5 months ago, I decided to go vegan. My BF has been very supportive all the time. He even eats lots of vegan food now too. And when we visited his parents, his mom would also prepare something for me to eat. I told her thank you and how much I appreciate that. I never commented their food or started a discussion about being vegan because I know it's neither the time nor place to do that. I realize they are not interested in it, and I'm glad that we got along. A couple weeks ago, my BF turned 24, and we had a B-Day brunch at his parents' house with his sister and brother-in-law. My BF provided the food, and his mom, him, and I prepared it together at their house. My BF wanted to have everything on the table available in vegan too. He wanted it not just for me, but also for his family to try some if they wanted to. Now, this happened. My BF also put bacon and vegan bacon on the table, and at this moment, it's his stepdad, his sister, and me at the table when his stepdad loudly comments something about how stupid the idea of vegan bacon is, and who even needed that nonsense. I didn't think much of it and responded to him in the nicest voice I had that vegan bacon was a great alternative if you like the taste of bacon but don't like eating body parts. Now he's furious, complaining how he hasn't ever heard such nonsense as meat being called body parts and how stupid that was. BF's sister asked if he was fine and why he was so angry. When we finally ate, I asked BF's brother-in-law for the egg salad, which was vegan too, so stepdad asked me if now I'm going to eat dead baby animals. I responded that technically there's no baby unless the egg was fertilized, but it wasn't real eggs anyway. This is when his mom steps in and says everyone should just eat their own food and leave the others alone. A few days after this, his parents talked to my BF about it. Stepdad says he's not happy with how things went and that I was being disrespectful towards him by calling meat body parts. He argues that, if anything, it's a cadaver, not a body, because it's an animal, not a human. Honestly, I think this is ridiculous. I admit I could have just ignored him maybe, but I don't really see why I would sit there and let him talk to me like that, which in my opinion was disrespectful in the first place. My BF wants me to fix the situation. I'm ready to do that for his sake, but I honestly don't think I am the one who owes an apology, and I don't want his parents to think it's fine. All I think about this, and especially his stepdad right now, is like, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. But maybe there's different opinions on this. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Edit, because it came up like multiple times, the egg salad was fake. Like the bacon, it did not contain real eggs. Edit, native language is German. This happened in German. The original word I used was Leichenteil. Like equals dead body, teal equals parts. He said cadaver, which is more popular word when speaking of an animal body, but also describes a human body. Typically used when it comes to a body, human or animal, that started to rot. Leich and cadaver are both per definition words to describe either a dead human or animal. They are synonyms. Not the a-hole. I'm an avid meat eater, half my family's in the butcher business, and I dislike preachy vegans as much as anyone. OP was not being preachy. Father-in-law instigated this entire thing. His comments were unnecessary and rude, especially considering his son's GF of 3 years is a vegan, and I see very little failing in OP's parts here. Meat literally is body parts. Not the same kind of insult. That is the reality of meat. It's no more of an insult than saying someone having a salad is eating plants. Anyone getting so bent out of shape over that just doesn't like to confront the reality of what they're eating. Everybody sucks here. No, they don't. Dad could have kept his mouth shut, but you escalated it. As for stupid games win stupid prizes, congrats. You won an awkward relationship with possible in-laws. I have to go with not the a-hole. It's clear the stepdad was attempting to be combative and start something out of nothing. If he doesn't understand why something exists, he can just ask or be quiet. It's not that hard. As for calling something body parts, you aren't even wrong. It is a body part of an animal. That's not a bad thing. The only reason he ever responded negatively is because he wanted to be a bully over vegan bacon and expected you to back down and accept it. Not the a-hole. Meat is literally body parts. Sounds like father-in-law doesn't like facing reality and would prefer to believe that meat just magically appears and isn't slaughtered animals. He argues that, if anything, it's a cadaver, not a body, because it's an animal and not a human. Carcass, not cadaver. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister that her feeling sick all the time is because of her breast implants and embarrassing and exposing her because we were in front of family? I, 21F, have an older sister, 26F, who is sick all of the time, gets a bunch of rashes, and is complaining about how she constantly feels like crap. She was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease about a year ago. Hashimoto's disease, I think, and has ever since been blaming literally every single one of her issues on her autoimmune disease, even if the issue is completely irrelevant. She stubbed her toe, it's because of her disease. She's late to an event, it's because of her disease. She doesn't feel well, it's because of her disease. Doctors told her she's probably had this her entire life, but she also 5 years ago got breast implants, and ever since then was when she started feeling so sick and horrible all the time. If y'all don't know, breast implant illness is a real thing. It's very common where women who get breast implants will start feeling sick after getting them. Now, yesterday we had some other family over at the house because they were in town for a bit, it, and my sister is doing her usual complaining about how horrible she feels all the time and how it's because of her autoimmune disease. I just got fed up with her complaining and told her that her being sick all the time and feeling horrible is because of her breast implants, because she didn't start feeling that way until after she got them. Now she didn't like that I said that at all and started screaming at me that you don't know what the frick you're talking about. You're just trying to make this all about you, and so on. Me and her went back and forth for a minute until her mother stepped in the room and heard what was going on and pulled me into the other room with her and told me I was an a-hole for saying that because you don't know your sister better than she knows herself, and you exposed and embarrassed her in front of her family. Family members visiting didn't know she had breast implants. My sister kept it very much on the down low to everyone about getting breast implants. So yes, I see why I might have embarrassed her, but truth was going to come out anyway. Wow, this guy's kind of an a-hole. I really didn't think what I did was wrong at all, because I think it's pretty obvious this is breast implant illness. So help me out here, Reddit. Am I the a-hole? You are the a-hole. It was completely unnecessary to say. Also, you're not a doctor. Just because you read about breast implant illness doesn't make you one, and it certainly doesn't make you an expert on Hashimoto's. Regardless of why your sister's not feeling well, the lack of empathy you have over her not feeling well is odd. If you're truly concerned about her welfare, then you would encourage her to go see her doctor versus outing her at a family outing. When speaking, ask yourself the 3 questions: is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? You're the a-hole. One of the hard things about having an autoimmune disorder is that it absolutely can make you sick all the time, especially if it's not managed well. In an average year, my autoimmune disorder flares up about 4 times and takes 3 to 6 weeks of strong medications to get a flare to go down. In a bad year, I alternate between having infections because my autoimmune meds suppress my immune system and having autoimmune flares because they always happen after I fight off a bacterial or viral infection. I've been sick one way or the other for 16 months straight once. It's very common with autoimmune disorders to have a date when your symptoms start and they never go away. Mine was August of 2007, though it didn't get diagnosed until November 2013. It's been over 15 years since my onset date, and I've never had a time when I didn't, at a minimum, have chronic pain and fatigue from the damage my autoimmune disorder has caused. Never. Unless an autoimmune disorder goes into remission, that's pretty common. You shared your sister's medical info, and you did it because you're ignorant, which is a lousy reason. I mean, you're not a doctor, you can't diagnose her illness, and you don't know how she actually feels. You have no idea how sick she might actually be. Whether it's implants or not, picking a fight with her at a family gathering was always going to be an a-hole move. Have you ever suggested that the implants were the cause before? Have you tried understanding just what she's dealing with? Also, complete a-hole move to disclose that she has implants when she didn't want people to know. She'll probably get judged very harshly by your family now. Overall, I think you're the a-hole. You need to communicate with your sister and apologize for the blow-up, and then explain that you've heard of implants making people sick and you're worried about her. If you have legit concerns or issues, talk to her privately like a mature adult. Am I the a-hole for not showing up to my best friend's girlfriend's party and telling her to leave me alone? This involves me, 27M, and my best friend Derek, 27M, his girlfriend Molly, 26F, and Molly's sister Courtney, 28F. Derek and Molly have been dating for over a year. Derek and I are roommates, so I've known Molly for a while. She's a nice girl, but has this attitude of she's always right. I find her a little annoying, but Derek loves her and I support him, so I'm friends with her. She's a really good person, I will say, and comes from a great family, which includes her sister Courtney, who I've met once or twice. About a month ago, Derek asked me what I thought about Courtney. I said she was hot and was really down to earth and had had good times whenever she goes out with us. Derek said Molly wanted him to ask me that. I said I wasn't interested in her due to her history, but if she wanted to ever hang out or something casual, she could have my number. Derek reported back to Molly, and the last few weeks have been awkward. Molly seems standoffish. I bought her a beer and asked her what was wrong last week. She said she didn't like what I said about her sister. I said that her sister had been married before, was pregnant, and got divorced. It was too much baggage for me. I thought it was all good after we talked. Last weekend, Molly hosted a game night at Courtney's house. She made a big to-do about this game night and kept asking if I was going to come. I told her maybe. I had other plans that night, so I might stop by. I went out for a drink and then decided to stay home and watch a game. At 8 p.m., Molly started texting me asking when I was coming. I started ignoring her, and then she called like 3 times. Derek started texting me too, and I told him that I didn't want to go over to Courtney's for some couple's game night and wanted to watch the game. He said it was duos games only, so they needed me. I said maybe to begin with, so they should find other games. Molly called me one last time on Derek's phone. She sounded mad and was like telling me to come. I told her to f*** off and leave me alone. Derek texted me yesterday and said I should apologize to her and her sister, as Courtney was the one without a partner and went and got my specific beers that I like. I said that it wasn't my fault. I never gave a yes and never told anyone to get me anything, and his girl should have respected that. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Maybe drop by isn't a yes. Also, everyone gets all crazy if a guy doesn't accept a woman's not interested. Why is it any different when a man says it? What would she have done if you had shown up with another girl? You don't owe her an apology. No is a complete sentence, and if your roommate gives you any grief, tell him that you were feeling way uncomfortable and he may have to start limiting the time his girlfriend comes over. Don't apologize. They called and texted too many times after you told them to stop, weren't interested, and they needed to back off. Molly owes you an apology for ruining your relaxing night to yourself and interrupting your game. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Courtney is interested in you, and instead of putting on her big girl pants and speaking to you, she's playing this teenage do you like me game with Derek and Molly as the go-betweens. This level of immaturity would also make it a no from me too. You've already told Molly that while you think she's fun and attractive, you're not interested. Now she and Derek are trying to force something by putting keeping you in close proximity. I would address this with Derek first. Look man, I get you're trying to make Molly happy by helping her find someone for Courtney, but I am not interested. I've already made that clear to Molly, so don't help her try to get me come along on any other casual hangouts with you guys as a couple, or our friendship is going to have problems. Let him be the one to relay that to Molly. If he's a good dude, he'll stop it. Not the a-hole, except maybe for telling Molly to F off. Maybe is not a yes, and they shouldn't have counted on you to show. From now on, get your plans straight with your friends, since Molly clearly has an agenda. Everybody sucks here. You shouldn't have ignored all their texts and not told them to F off. And because you told them you might stop by, as soon as you knew you weren't, you should have texted them to let them know that. They should not have kept pushing. Simply replying back would have solved a lot of this. Would I be the a-hole if I didn't honor my dead sister's wishes for my firstborn daughter? 2 years ago, my sister, I'll call her Marie, passed away. She had a myriad of health problems, and though her death was not sudden nor a surprise, our entire family was hit extremely hard. Mother especially, as they were very close. Unfortunately, my mother was an awful person to everyone except for Marie. She was abusive to me and my other sister, Anna, in ways better left unsaid. But suffice to say, we will have no problem throwing her in the worst, cheapest nursing home we can find once her mental state declines a bit further. Before she passed away, Marie made it known that she would like the next girl born in our family to be named after our mother. Whether or not my mother put her up to it is something we'll never know. Anna and I both agreed at the time, although I only did so I didn't have to have the heart to tell her no. Now that my wife is pregnant with our daughter, and I can't do it, I can't honor the woman who put me through so much hell. I spoke with Anna about it, and she told me that I had made a promise to Marie. She said that to go back in that word would be spitting in the face of Marie's memory, and to think of it as honoring Marie and not my mother. I accept Anna's logic, but emotionally, I'm extremely unsure. My wife is totally on board with whatever I want to do, because we're using her all-time favorite name as the first name, so we'd be using my mother's name as a middle name, if at all. I know this is a tad above Reddit's pay grade, but if y'all could give me some perspective, that would be appreciated. Am I the a-hole? You would not be the a-hole. Don't do it. Your daughter deserves a fresh start in life and a father that doesn't cringe every time you say her name. You could instead name her after your sister, not the a-hole. I would not even use it as a middle name. I disagree with Anna's reasoning. If you gave your daughter the name Marie, that would be honoring Marie. Giving your daughter your mother's name is not honoring Marie. It is honoring your mother. It brings back terrible memories for you, and you do not want to have those memories flooding back every time you look at your daughter. I think it would have been better for you to have told Marie the truth as she was dying, but even so, it is not a promise that Marie should ever have demanded from you, nor a promise that you should feel obliged to keep. If Anna has a daughter, she is free to name her after your mother if she wants. As someone who's lost a half dozen siblings over the years, not the a-hole. You don't owe the dead anything. You clearly still have trauma and issues around the subject. You are under no obligation, and your sister is only saying it because it's not her kid, I assume. I assume? Not the a-hole, and don't name your daughter after your mother or sister. She is a new life and needs to be her own person, so give her her own middle name. OP, your sister is dead. She won't know or care if you fulfill her dying wish. Not the a-hole. In the last moments of your sister, you gave her happiness. That's what matters. Now, no offense, but what your sister asked before leaving was a little selfish, even if you take into account her situation. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to share the cost of my sister's visa fee because I have passport privilege? Context, my mom is Thai and my dad is Dutch. I grew up in Thailand. My mom married again and I have a stepsister who is 3 years older than me. My stepsister always brings up stuff like, you have no idea how hard traveling is for us because you have a strong passport, whenever she's feeling stressed about traveling. My family, me, mom, stepsister, and stepdad are currently planning a trip to Germany. They're in the process of applying for a Schengen visa. I think seeing me relaxing and unstressed about the whole thing grated on my sister because I'm just chilling while they're running around getting flight tickets, proof of accommodation, statement of purpose, bank statements, travel health insurance, money for the visa fee, and a bunch more stuff. She finally snapped and was like, aren't you even going to try to be helpful? At least share the visa fee with us. I said no. I'm financially contributing the same amount she is to the trip. The visa fee is just an added expense she has that I don't. She was unhappy because I just don't get it and kept telling me things that would only be fair if I agreed to share the cost at least. She's been giving me the cold shoulder since because she thinks I'm a bit of an ass. My mom would like me to apologize to her and agree to share the costs, at which point she would then reimburse me just to keep the peace. Not the a-hole. It's not your fault you have 2 passports. It's a great perk of being dual nationality, especially in EU1 and traveling within Europe. It's not your fault what your nationalities are, what passports you're entitled to, or what things are easier for you with said passports. You don't owe anyone anything to help them with theirs either. Your mom knows this. It's why she offered to reimburse you, but she's trying to keep the peace the best way she can. Stepsis, though, she's an a-hole and sounds jealous of something that's not even within your control. Passport privilege? That's a new one, not the a-hole. Enjoy it all. And I wouldn't do as your mom is suggesting. That just opens the door to future manipulation. Have a great trip. Passport privilege is a real thing. Some passports are more accepted and travel internationally way easier than others. That said, it's not OP's fault, and her sister's attitude and problems are none of OP's business, and she has no right to demand she can share the cost. Not the a-hole. My mom would like to apologize to her and agree to share the cost, at which point she would then reimburse me just to keep the peace. This will keep happening unless you put a stop to it now. Why doesn't your mother cut out the middleman, so to speak, and pay her daughter's visa fee? Not the a-hole, but try to be helpful in ways other than sharing sharing the visa fee. First step, empathize instead of saying not my problem. Offer to type out the statement of purpose, print out bank statements, look for cheap flights. These are all small ways to make traveling less of a hassle for them. A little kindness goes a long way. Am I the a-hole for being mad at my fiance for getting me food? Okay, this is gonna sound like I'm a horrible person, but my fiance and I made plans to get fast food, which since I'm on a diet, I can't have a lot. We had made plans to order when we were both awake because we have opposite sleeping schedules. We made this plan 3 days ago. Well, today I wake up and there's 2 cold burgers in the fridge from the place that we said we were going to get food. Now, I don't like reheated food because it causes sensory issues, which he knows about. Now, if the burgers had been like a chicken sandwich or something like that, it would have been fine, but they were 2 Big Macs, which I absolutely do not like reheated. I know it's a stupid thing to be upset about, but I feel like he went against the plan, got himself hot food, and then got me leftovers. Wish he wasted this money because I can't eat cold burgers. I'm not being picky, it's an autism thing. So now I'm sitting here upset because the thing I was looking forward to for 3 days is something that I can't eat. I just want to know, am I the a-hole? Also, we can't afford to get it again. It was a one-time treat. Update, we spoke about it, and he honestly forgot that I don't like cold burgers. We both agreed it wasn't about the burger, and we have some other things to work out. He's also getting me a replacement burger and a coffee. He was trying to be sweet by getting me some food to wake up to, and I thought it would make me happy. I don't think you're the a-hole. It was something you were supposed to do together, and if you had done it without him, he'd probably be upset too. If this is something you've told him about and he keeps doing it, it could be a serious strain in your relationship, but if it's not a big deal or problem, just talk about it with him. Only communication will help. Not the a-hole and your fiance is. Everyone knows that fast food goes way downhill when not fresh. He knew this was a treat for both of you. He didn't wait till you were awake to get your preferred order or let you enjoy it with him. He prioritized his own whims and cravings and impatience. Not the a-hole. Old McDonald's is disgusting, and I don't get the people who say, oh, it's so minor. It's friggin' rude and thoughtless, and they are tight on money. Getting LP nothing would have been more kind. WTF? Not the a-hole. I wouldn't eat it either. Install the McDonald's app. They give you a free Big Mac. Order pickup and enjoy your free and fresh Mac. Not the a-hole. No one should ever reheat a Big Mac. Not the a-hole. There's nothing worse than looking forward to have something and it not being what you expected. Your BF should have known. Am I the a-hole for lashing out to a friend that cancels our trip short notice because he felt inspired by God to go on a different trip? My best friend and I have scheduled a trip months ahead this summer to spend time together since we're both college students and don't get much time to hang out during the semester. We were going to spend a couple of weeks on this trip and I've scheduled my summer around it. Only a couple days before our trip, my friend tells me that he had an epiphany and decided to become a counselor for a Christian summer camp for the whole summer. Looking back, I feel bad for lashing out, but as someone that doesn't understand spirituality, I just get upset by the news. I want to respect my buddy's beliefs in religion, but it's as if the divine being that he believes in didn't consider nor respect my schedule. I told him that and he got upset. I do feel bad and had no malicious intent to be disrespectful, not his choice. But the month's worth of preparation, scheduling, and excitement going down the drain made me emotional. I've apologized to him, but our relationship has been different ever since. I know there were faults on my end, I just want to see what y'all think. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Religious or not, it's an a-hole move to ditch plans, especially those with months of planning at the last minute. Not the a-hole. You spent months planning something only for it to be canceled at the last minute. It was a very selfish thing for him to do. Not really much of a friend. Not the a-hole. This had nothing whatsoever with an epiphany or religion or God. Your friend just decided last minute to do something else and to basically think, F you and our plans, I'm gonna go work. Not the a-hole. Has your friend even apologized for canceling on you so last minute? Epiphany or not, this mess is his doing, and you've had every right to be upset by his actions. You have every right to be upset over what he did, and frankly, I would seriously reconsider the friendship because this probably won't be the last time that you get ditched by your friend because God told me to. Thank the Lord Jesus Christ that you got out of going on that trip with him. Not the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for laughing at my brother's tattoo? This is a pretty cut and dry scenario. My 32M little brother, 25M, has been in a string of relationships since he was young enough to know what dating was. On several occasions, the relationships ended because he was caught cheating with another girl. These are just the ones that I know about. There could be more. In fact, his current GF, 19, was the other woman from his previous relationship. He, I'll call him Danny, still lives with my parents, and I headed over on the 4th for barbecue. When he reached out for a hug, I noticed his arm was super red, and he showed me his brand new tattoo he had literally just gotten. In huge words, it says loyalty in cursive. Where I might be the a-hole is that I kind of laughed as soon as I saw it and didn't try to hide it at all. It wasn't a dramatic laugh. He said, "What's so funny?" And I just said his tattoo was really ironic. He got pissed and stormed off to his room and didn't join my parents and I and our sister for dinner. I told them what happened and they said I was being an a-hole, and my sister said people are allowed to change. I personally think he's acting like a child by locking himself in his room, and that I shouldn't be blamed for a 25-year-old storming off. Not the a-hole, and it is ironic and entertaining. I keep picturing his brother's arms flailing wildly as he ran into the house. I'm sorry, but not the a-hole. Someone who cheats hardly gets to be upset that someone laughed at them for tattooing the word loyalty on their body. Not the a-hole. I'd assume the loyalty is to himself. Not the a-hole. You're right. You shouldn't be blamed for an adult to storm off and lock themselves in their room like a spoiled child. Not the a-hole. I was all ready to vote the opposite and chide you for belittling. Already done. Artistic choices by other people, but no. That's a ridiculous, oblivious tattoo choice for a serial cheater. Am I the a-hole for laughing when my boyfriend gave me a self-help book? As the title says, my boyfriend, 34M, gave me, 26F, a self-help book. At first, I was really polite when he gave it to me, told him I really appreciated it, etc. But then he noticed me smiling slightly and asked if I found something funny. Then I started laughing and he took offense at it. I'm feeling kind of offended that he just sprung this on me out of nowhere without talking to me about it. I also found it funny that no one had ever gifted me a self-help book before. Feels like a bit of a backhanded gift. He thinks I have depression and I've struggled with mental health in the past, but I think I've linked my depressive episodes with my cycle as it happens in the PMS stage, which I've read up on, and seems like lots of other women suffer with it too. Now he's mad at me that I found it funny, but I'm feeling kind of offended. I know the thought behind it, but I feel there's better ways to go about getting someone help than just coming up to them and randomly giving them a self-help book. Not the a-hole. This is like the commercial about the woman who is so happy her husband got her a Peloton. Gifts should be something you want, not something someone else thinks you need. Why is he offended? He gave you a self-help book for depression. You laughed your ass off and hopefully got in a good mood. Conclusion, this is the best self-help book ever, with the fastest results, even if they are very short-term. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole, it's funny and I would have laughed too. I've actually been given one too, for the same reason, and decided to use the pages to make paper ornaments and gave one to the person who gave me the book. Told them it really helped me. Not the a-hole, and that's called PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, and it's pretty common. Break up with him and gave him the book back. Say, thanks, it worked. Give him a book on how to deal with breakups. Not the a-hole. He's lucky that you laughed. I think I would have been insulted. Am I the a-hole for wanting to sleep alone in the spare bedroom? I, 28M, have been dating my girlfriend Sarah, 29F, for the past 3 years. The relationship has been going great and I love how amazing she is, but lately I've been tired. We decided to move into a new apartment 2 months ago, and I also took a new job. The new job has been a bit stressful compared to my last job. Luckily, I'm still getting time for my personal hobbies like gym and going out with Sarah. Now, the problem I want to talk about is my lack of sleep. I've been sleeping alone since I was 15 years old, and now sleeping with someone else is kind of bothering to me. I am used to the peace of sleeping alone. My girlfriend likes to sleep with a low fan sleep, takes up too much space in bed, and most importantly, she snores sometimes, which ruins my sleep completely. She also no concern for my sleep as she wakes up before me and either switches on lights or makes noises. I am used to sleeping 7 to 8 hours a day, but for the past few months, I've been sleeping only 4 to 5 hours because of this. So I finally got frustrated and confronted her about this. I know my girlfriend can't change in a day, so I proposed I would just sleep in the other room peacefully. She got upset and was furious about the suggestion. She believes sleeping together is a sign of love between a couple and that she likes cuddling or sleeping on top of me and says I should get used to it. She now thinks I don't find her attractive, but that isn't true at all. I love my girlfriend, but all I want is peaceful good night's sleep. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for this? Not the a-hole. My husband and I have been married for 17 years and sleep in separate beds. We made our master into a luxury hotel suite of sorts. Everyone needs sleep. Not the a-hole. She believes sleeping together is a sign of love between a couple. Tell her that another sign of love between a couple is concern for the well-being of the other person, and that includes sleep. Surely there's a way to work out a system where she doesn't have to turn on the lights or make noise. Maybe a nightlight? Can she prep her clothing night before and get dressed in the other room? The bed hogging, you may need to fight for that, as in push her away onto the other side of the bed. The snoring may be a medical condition, and she may need to look into that. In any case, her disregard for your well-being is very selfish, and her telling you that you should get used to it is entitled. Red flags galore on the me GF. Not the a-hole. Sleeping in the same bed is not a requirement of any relationship. If it's important to her and you're willing to try again, tell her you need an adjustment period to acclimate yourself to sleeping together. It's the same concept as quitting an addiction or a habit. Going cold turkey can make things a lot harder for people, and sometimes it's best to ease into the change. You're still getting used to sleeping together and sometimes need a night alone to get adequate sleep until you adjust to each other's sleeping patterns, schedules, and habits. Not the a-hole. A lot of couples find that sleeping in different rooms is healthier and happier for both of them. Nah, this is a difference in lifestyle. It's a shame that she called you selfish, which makes her a bit of an a-hole here, but I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. I read an article today that suggests that over time, getting less than 7 hours of sleep negates the benefits of exercise in the brain. Am I the a-hole for wanting to move out of my house? I, 18F, want to move out of my house immediately. It's been a bad environment for me since I was 15. My sister, 25, will mentally and emotionally hurt me. My mom will manipulate me to get anything she wants, and my grandma acts like I'm her nanny. You can see why I hate it here. The worst part is my sister is pregnant, and she told me on her first trimester she wants me to take full care of the baby and doesn't want to do anything for it. She's told me multiple times that. Recently, someone offered me to stay at their place, and I want to take the offer. So I talked to my mom about it, but she had a full-blown tantrum. She threatened to take me off insurance, cut me off of everything, and to cut contact with me. My sister threatened me to never see the baby, and if I'm gonna be in and out of his life. They also tried to say I'm my sister's person, and I'm the one that my mom thought would stay. I'm still going to move out, even if it's in secret whether they like it or not, which makes me feel like an a-hole, since they said they needed my help with the baby, they need me, etc. So am I? At it, I would like to mention that the only one supporting me to move out is my grandma. She supports me full on because she knows what will happen once the baby comes. Not the a-hole, and for goodness sake, do not talk to your family about it. Just do it and tell them after the event when you are living your life and not pandering to theirs. Not the a-hole, and holy crap, she got pregnant and then had multiple times said she wants you to be the parent? Run. I wouldn't tell them a thing and just move out. I think your mistake was even talking to her about it because their goal is to guilt trip you into being a full-time caregiver to your grandma and sibling. Nope, out of this. this. Also, if you don't already have a job, get one ASAP. Not the a-hole. You're a full-blown adult, and if your family wants to use you for a whole bunch of stuff you don't want to do, you can leave. But also, leave behind a pumpkin, 3 mice, and a glass slipper. Not the a-hole. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. They want you to stay and be their servant. They don't care about your hopes and dreams or your future. They treat you badly. You're not the a-hole, they are. You need to get out of there. Am I the a-hole for telling my son that he should probably be more low-key around his boyfriend's friends? My youngest, Randy, 16M, has been dating a boy, Zach, 15M. I'm a friend of Zach's mom from college, and he and Randy have known each other for a while, and we've had them over, and I know Zach pretty well. He's a pretty sweet kid, even has his own flower garden. Now, even though Randy does play some sports, he's not super masculine or anything, and well, Zach's more on the more masculine side and takes sports more seriously, though they bonded over Zach's more or less than masculine interests. Zach had just recently came out to his parents in school, like not maybe, but a few months ago. I know his dad is struggling a bit with it, and we live out in the country, and not all of Zach's football teammates are being great about it. And I know other than his 2 best friends, no one else knows how he likes flowers or any other things he likes that aren't up to par here. From what I heard from his mom, I know he's been getting crap from some of his friends and teammates about how Randy treats him like the girl, with Randy having a car, so usually picking him up, driving around, or paying for stuff because he got his job. Well, last Saturday they were supposed to hang out after Zach got done with summer practice. Randy decided to bring him some flowers he might like. Now, Randy has brought him flowers before, just not in front of his teammates or people that don't know about his other interests. And apparently, Zach got embarrassed about it, and they had a huge argument about it and how he felt Randy was embarrassing him. Me and Randy talked about it when I saw him upset, and I wondered why he was home so early. I told him, well, what Zach said wasn't necessarily fair, that maybe he should be a bit more low-key and chill some around Zach's less than evolved friends. That Zach's kind of having a hard time right now and doesn't need more stress. He got this somber look on his face, which I hated, but he understood. I talked it over with my wife, and she thinks I was being a dick, basically telling Zach not to be himself, and I should never try to tell him not to be loud and proud. I told him I didn't mean it that way, but she's still upset with me. Am I the a-hole here? Not the a-hole. As a gay man, you need to be careful sometimes. Gay bashing still exists. I wish it wasn't that way. Not the a-hole. As a gay man who has dated guys both before and during the coming out process, it's a very difficult and sensitive time. This is especially true since they're teenagers. From firsthand experience, I can tell you that sometimes being with a man who is emotionally vulnerable because his identity is in flux is not easy. Given that Zach and Randy just got into an argument, I think your advice had both Randy and Zach's best interest at heart. I wish my dad would have been more willing to give me relationship advice when I was struggling with relationship issues. But my parents had huge issues with my sexuality, so there wasn't a chance. Concerning the issue at hand, gay and bisexual people have been dealing with the stresses of having one partner in the closet or fresh out of the closet for decades. My recommendation is to suggest that your son talk with Zach in private about where Zach's embarrassment is coming from. It can be very easy to conflate I'm embarrassed about being gay or bi, or I'm embarrassed that my friends are treating me differently, with I'm embarrassed about being with you. It's important that Randy know the difference. Empathy is key here. Not the a-hole. No one knows how to deal with these situations, and you did your best, and the fact that you're accepting of your son's situation is more than enough. Don't listen to these Reddit assholes. Not the a-hole. And the reason you're not the a-hole is because you're following what Zach said. Zach is happy to be brought flowers in private, but doesn't want to be brought flowers in front of his football teammates. That's Zach's choice. The degree to which Zach wants to be out and proud is up to Zach. Nobody else gets to make that choice for him. Sure, his teammates are obvious Neanderthal homophobes. No, if 2 guys are in a relationship, you don't need one of them to be the girl. But it's Zach's choice as to how he handles that. Everyone else gets to support Zach, not make decisions for him. Queer person here, dad's not the a-hole. Queer bashing does still exist and is a very real danger. Also, if Randy is uncomfortable with his friends seeing parts of their relationship, Zach not toning it down around them could lead to Randy breaking up with him. Not the a-hole, though I would encourage Zach to talk to Randy and they can have a conversation about boundaries so everyone's happy. They're teenagers. The only way they could learn to be good partners is to learn how to be good communicators. Am I the a-hole for getting my friend in trouble with our school? Okay, so this happened a few months ago when school was still in. My friend isn't mad and still talks to me, but the rest of our group has completely blocked me out because of this. I really don't think I'm the a-hole because of the circumstances, but I just wanted to make sure. So what happened was my friend M15 had eaten an edible during school hours, which I, F15, really didn't care if he does that. That's him, not me. Just as long as he's still safe, I don't think it's my business to snitch. He took the edible in the morning, and then around lunchtime, where our group usually would meet up to have lunch together, he didn't show up. Me and my friends have our location shared with each other, so me and another friend, M16, went to go find him to make sure he was okay because he wasn't picking up calls or answering texts. He was behind one of the staircases at our school. It's a common sort of like hidden place at our school, and he was very obviously not okay. He was laying down on the ground, passing out, breathing really slow, etc. So I went to go get the school nurse, and long story short, friend ended up being taken to the ER. Turned out there was fentanyl in the edible he ate, but he ended up being alright, so I'm really glad I went and got someone. But then once he was okay, he was suspended from school for a week, which was expected, and our other friends were all super pissed with me about it. He was mad at first too because of the suspension, but he isn't now, and he thanks me for getting someone to help. I've been thinking about this recently because I'm still getting called a piece of crap for this. It's just bothering me. I literally made a Reddit account just to ask this here. here. Not the a-hole. You absolutely did the right thing, and I'm so sorry your friends don't understand that. Our community has had multiple students die of fentanyl overdoses over the past year in a totally separate instance of taking stuff that wasn't supposed to have fentanyl in it. As a parent of teenagers, it is scary AF. I did my share of experimenting in my teens and early 20s, but the crap out there today is fundamentally different. Thank you for looking out for your friend. Not the a-hole. Your friend made a dumb decision, and you made a decision that could potentially have saved his life. Now you're the bad guy in the scenario because why? Because you ratted him out? Hard disagree. Don't snitch culture is toxic as hell and nearly always serves to enable bad decisions, bad behavior, and bad actors. These friendships are probably permanently ruined. I'm sorry, but you still did the right thing, and I hope you would do it again if confronted with a choice between taking social consequences or potentially letting a friend die. Not the a-hole. You did the right thing. Better an angry friend group than a mourning friend group. Not the a-hole. I guess they all think it would be better if your friend died. He was at the point he needed medical intervention. Not the a-hole. Your friend's safety comes before potentially being in trouble with the school. Anyone who suggests otherwise has told you that will not prioritize yours or anyone else's safety in a line or death situation. And fentanyl in any quantity is absolutely a life or death situation. I wouldn't remain friends with people who think that way. Not the a-hole. Social status can be even more important for teenagers than actual life, apparently. You did the right thing. Am I the a-hole for telling a dad that I thought he was just weird? My 7-year-old is going to a summer camp and has made a good friend with another boy who apparently just moved into the area. He will be going to the same school as my son, so they might be in the same class. My son asked if he could go to his house or vice versa. I said I'd have to go get to know his parents first. I hadn't seen his parents. The boy is picked up by a sitter who rubbed me the wrong way. He's like in his 40s and kisses him on the lips before he leaves. Yesterday, I approached him and asked if he'd kindly pass my information to the parents for a possible playdate. He said that was not necessary because he can do that. I said I'd much rather deal with the parents. He said I'm the dad. I was dumbfounded because he looks nothing like the boy. I said, so you're not a hired sitter? He said no. He works from home and he takes care of the kids. I said, wow, I'm actually relieved to hear that. He asked why, and I said I thought it was creepy at the thought of a sitter kissing a kid on the lips and telling him that he loves him. That angered him, and I said it was a joke. He left, and I haven't heard back from him or his wife about the playdate. You are the a-hole, and more than a little bit dense. You are the a-hole. Not all children look like their parents. Men can be primary carers for their own children. Welcome to the modern world. You're the a-hole. You made an assumption which made you an a-hole. Also, you made a really bad assumption here. I'm not even being able to figure out the thought process that led from 40-something who picks up boy from camp and acts like a parent to sitter. You're the a-hole. Why do I get the feeling that he looked nothing like the dad translates to different race? Foot, meat, mouth. Yeah. You're the a-hole. So they don't look alike. It happens. Maybe the kid takes after mom. You made a bunch of assumptions about the bloke being a sitter and a creep and were totally wrong, and even after he said he was the dad, you still voiced those crappy assumptions to him. You managed to write this out and didn't think you were the creepy a-hole halfway through? You are the a-hole, obviously, and oblivious and dumb as hell. You're the a-hole. I thought we were able 40 years past automatically assuming that someone cannot be the parent of a child if they don't look like them. But honestly, what did you really think would happen when you said, I thought this thing you did was super creepy knowing absolutely nothing about you, and made lots of offensive assumptions about your situation? That's it for today's video, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful night. Goodbye.